So Adrian Schimpf will remain in third place. Nicolas Milin has to settle for fourth, but all of this battling has brought back into the battle Luca Franca and Alexandre Albuy, which have swapped around since they crossed the line. And not too far away either is Florian Coruble in that number 2 machine, but look at the lead David Puget has now. All of that battling behind between David Puget, Nicolas Milin and Adrian Schimpf. That has really thrown the battle back up in the air. I think that's Stefan Polderman that has managed to work his way right the way towards the top of the order. It's been a good start of the race from him. Good first phase, 19 minutes of this race remaining. Through the heat haze we will go once again, back down towards turns 8 and turn 9. In the background, the number 84 of Matteo Lancelotti still fighting away with a couple of cars, but now we're potentially seeing Adrian Schimpf up the inside of Jerzy Spinkovic for second place. Adrian Schimpf now takes second place, back off Jerzy Spinkovic, so they're back into the order they were just a couple of laps ago. But what this has done is opened up that lead margin between everybody else, and David Puget in the lead, still gunning for the Clio Cup Series title. Nicolas Milin is his closest rival at the moment. Of course, he has 8 titles to his name. David Puget still gunning for his today. Adrian Schimpf, since picking up second place, has just maintained that gap a little bit over Jerzy Spinkovic. Nicolas Milin struggling to open the door, I think, and work his way in towards the podium places, and he's now coming under fire from the number 91 of Luca Franca. So Luca Franca in 5th place can't afford to slow down because he has Alexandre Albuy just sat behind. So 5th and 6th, desperate to work their way in towards the top 4, and Nicolas Milin is desperate to work his way in towards the top 3. So it's all swapping around. You can see there Luca Franca, fastest lap of the race. A 2-minute 29.808. Incident between cars 66 and 24 will be investigated after the race. So that's between Alejandro Romero and Aurélien René. Of course, Aurélien already carrying that penalty up the inside. A big on move. Nicolas Milin gets elbowed wide by Luca Franca. So Nicolas Milin has to take to the track externals. They will be side by side as they cross the line. So David Puget still leading, followed by Adrian Schimpf. Jerzy Spinkovic and Nicolas Milin still side by side with Luca Franca as they come underneath the camera, heading back down towards turn 1. Alex Albuy in the background will have the best seats in the house to watch this unfold. All the way around the outside, can Luca Franca hold on? It will be the inside for turn 2. He has to cut the chicane. He can't quite make that corner, and he will have to again succeed that position back to Nicolas Milin. Whether he does so before turn 3 or not, yes he does now, but Nicolas Milin cutting right the way across. Very well managed there from Luca. He just managed to hand that position back without losing another to Alex Albuy. Just sat behind, getting impatient slightly is Florian Coruble. Just sat in the background. There he is, trying to edge his way up the inside of Alex Albuy. Here's the replay of the turn 2 cut for Luca Franca. He gave it a go, hanging it around the outside of Nicolas Milin, decided it wasn't going to work, and decided discretion was the better part of valor, and had to jump straight over the escape road, so to speak. David Puget's lead as he crossed the line last time through 1.1 seconds. This is where the aerodynamic assistance comes into play for the 113 of Adrian Schimpf. Back down towards turns 8 and 9, those two fairly close together. I would say the pair of them working away from Jerzy Spinkovic in 3rd place. He's trying to follow up a win yesterday in race 1 with another podium today in race 2. Nicolas Milin is desperate for points as well, as his championship rival has scored max points almost throughout this weekend. David Puget, he was on pole position both days, 3rd yesterday. If he gets a win today, everything is swinging back the way of David, but Nicolas Milin continuing just to try and close that gap as best he can. Luca Franca not too far away, having got through and past Alex Albuy, who has dropped back into the clutches, so to speak, of Florian Coruble, who isn't far away at all. Through turn 11 we go once again. Nicolas Milin not far away, all over the coattails of Jerzy Spinkovic. Back down towards turn 12. They've got to be so careful as well not to overwork the tyres. It is very, very hot today, and the track will just hold that heat, and naturally the quicker you go in the heats of battle, the car will get hot, the tyres, the brakes will get hot as well. So they really have to think about not only sort of pace management and gap management, but also car management, and make sure they just make the car manage. Nicolas Milin dive to the inside towards the final corner. Jerzy Spinkovic a bit of a lock-up, but Nicolas Milin will have to compromise his exit very slightly. Will Jerzy get the better run out of the chicane or out of the final corner? No, he won't, but he will have the aerodynamic assistance, trying to be Up into third place, almost there, was Luca Franca. He threw it to the inside, couldn't quite make it work. So David Puget across the line in the lead of the race. Adrian Schimpf still there in second. Nicolas Millat in his newly invested third place. Jerzy Spinkovic not too far away. Luca Franca is very much there as well. This is the battle for the final step on the podium. Nicolas Millat, Jerzy Spinkovic and Luca Franca. So Alex Alboui in the background isn't really too far away. He's just doing what he can to manage the gap back to Florian Cohubler, who I think is coming under pressure from Alejandro Schimpf, who is also trying to run away from Aurélien Ranet. The Clio Cup series, you really can't get bored at all. So David Puget still managing that gap. Jerzy Spinkovic having to go defensive now. That will cost him time to Nicolas Millat up the road, but it will mean he can maintain that fifth place as Alexandre Alboui isn't too far away, but Luca Franca really started to close that gap and open the door almost. You can see Alex Alboui getting closer and closer and closer. Not too far away, Aurélien Ranet continuing just to push forward as well. You can see Luca Franca through the heat haze. He's trying to work his way through and past. Jerzy Spinkovic decides maybe not this time, or is he just jumping out of the draft, trying to get some cool air into the radiators of that car? So David Puget disappears first into the chicane. Adrian Schimpf remains in second place. It will be a good result for Adrian if he can finish second overall, and it will be another win in the Challengers Cup. Towards turn 10 we will go, and David still managing that pace. Adrian Schimpf not too far away. Nicolas Millat having to go slightly defensive as Jerzy Spinkovic getting closer and closer. Luca Franca has dropped away, almost into the grasp of Alexandre Alboui. Florian Cohubler in the background is almost within touching distance as well. But David Puget continuing just to control this race from the front. So 13 minutes of this race remaining with that all-important one lap added to the end. There is debris at turn 11, debris at turn 7, so bits of Renault Clio Cup being dispersed around the circuit through what is now turn 14 on the run towards the final corner at turns 15. And now we're seeing Jerzy Spinkovic having to go so defensive. Luca Franca really not far away at all. Nicolas Millat running wide. Jerzy Spinkovic running wide, potentially pushed there by Luca Franca. Alexandre Alboui now back into the mix. So David Puget, Adrian Schimpf and Nicolas Millat all very equidistantly spread. However, Nicolas Millat was getting closer. He did have the fastest lap of the race with a 2-minute 29.594. That was bettered by Alexandre Alboui, who we've now seen get in front of Luca Franca. Alexandre Alboui having just set the fastest lap of the race at 2:29.426. He has worked his way up into fifth place and will now set his sights on Jerzy Spinkovic and working his way in towards that top four. David Puget with that lead down in towards turn 3. He's just controlling this race from the front. Alex has been slowly unlocking more and more pace throughout the weekend, and he's putting it to good work in race 2. Whereabouts did Alex start? He started in 6th place. He's now up into 5th, so in theory he's back to where he should be, but he's not quite the fastest starter, is Alex. All this battling has drawn Jerzy Spinkovic away from those top 3 of Nicolas Millat, Adrian Schimpf and David Puget still leading the front. But everybody else in the background, you can see them still working away. Who had cut the chicane further down, so that's turned 3 and 4. Bit of damage on the front left-hand side. That is the 118 of Francesco Pagano for Costa Ovest, one of the Clio Cup Italia drivers. And now we're seeing side-by-side over the chicane. That is on the exit of turn 9. So Jerzy Spinkovic running out of road. I think that was Alex Alboui trying to go around the outside. Jerzy Spinkovic ran him right the way up to the line, and they both had to take to the painted surface. But Jerzy Spinkovic on the inside heading up towards turn 10. Alex Alboui tries to brave it all the way around the outside. It will be the outside for turn 11. A flash of the brake lights from Jerzy Spinkovic whilst he's trying to get that car settled down and get the nose in. So Alex Alboui from attack to defence. Luca Franca may potentially pick up this place here, almost elbowed wide there, almost 3 wide as well. Florian Cohubler getting in on the mix. So Jerzy Spinkovic having gone from defence, he will now try and run away as best he can, because Alex Alboui is keeping himself busy. A big slide in the background from Florian Cohubler. That may mean that he's lost a place to the car behind. Yes, he has. That will be the 24 of Aurélien Ranet. Of course, he is currently housing a time penalty from the jump start. But Jerzy Spinkovic in towards the final corner. Alex Alboui just sat behind, still under ever more pressure from the number 91 of Luca Franca. who does have Aurélien René, and having lost that place, the number 2 of Florian Cohuble will find himself down in 8th place. Last time through, the fastest lap out of those top 3 was set by Nicolas Milin, 1.6 seconds away from the leaders, 6 seconds away, or 6/10 away from Adrian Schimpf in 2nd place. Here we see that move again. So optimistic around the outside from Alexandre Albuy. Couldn't quite get the car gripped up. Was he elbowed wide very slightly by Luca Franca heading up in towards turn 11? I guess we will never know. And running very, very wide indeed. Vinny Schunke, whether he's got an issue on that car. Sorry, that's not Vinny Schunke, that is Stefan Polderman, running very, very wide indeed. And having just lost a place, there's now contact between the pair of them. That is Florian Cohuble bouncing over the curbs. I think lost a little bit of time, and that meant that Alejandro Schimpf had nowhere to go. A big, big whack in the rear right corner, and I'm afraid Florian Cohuble in towards retirement. The Challengers Cup driver will not be happy with that. And jumping out of the car, unfortunately, in the pit lane is Matteo Polini, so he will play no further part in this race. Into the pit lane as well comes Manuel Stefani for Seven Hills Motorsport, so it's been a rather attritional race. Back up to the front, we now see Alex Albuy all over the tail of Jerzy Spinkovic. So Alex Albuy, having lost a little bit of his wing mirror and a couple of places on the lap prior, he's now fighting his way back up towards that top 4. Currently in 5th place, David Pouget, Adrian Schimpf and Nicolas Milin, all very equidistantly spread, heading in towards turn 10 at the end of the straight. Alex Albuy had a little look up the inside, applying that pressure, filling the mirrors of Jerzy Spinkovic. He will try and get up there and assist his race-leading teammate David Pouget. And we've had a lot of the incidents noted to race control after what has been a rather attritional lap, let alone an attritional race just 1 lap ago. But at the moment, Alex Albuy really starting to apply that pressure onto Jerzy Spinkovic. You then see Luca Franca in the background. He's soaking up the pressure from Aurélien René. Unfortunately, Florian Cohuble was 8th at the time he was sent into retirement. Whether Alejandro Schimpf wasn't ready for the sudden break of Florian. He looks like he just got slightly unsettled on the exit curbing. David Pouget, last time he crossed the line, he was almost the 2nd clear best part of. We crossed the line once again, and will David Pouget have extended that margin? Yes, he will, up to 1.1 seconds. Nicolas Milin getting ever closer to Adrian Schimpf up the road. Jerzy Spinkovic not too far away in 4th, but he is under pressure from Alex Albuy heading down in towards turn 1, filling up his mirrors. Luca Franca not too far away. Aurélien René is within touching distance as well. And then we get a bit of a gap back to Alejandro Schimpf. He's being hunted down by Matteo Lancelotti and Guillaume Meo. Down in towards turns 3 and 4 once again. So into Hotel we will go. The no-name of turn 4 and turn 5 of Camp. Jerzy Spinkovic just doing what he can to manage that gap between himself and Alex Albuy, trying to back him up into Luca Franca, and it's worked. Luca Franca up the inside, contact between the pair of them. Whether Alexandre Albuy didn't see Luca Franca on the inside, it looked like he turned in, and contact between the pair of them. So Alex Albuy will remain in 5th place for the moment, but the rather damaged Luca Franca will continue on. We've already passed the stranded Florian Cohuble, and safety car will be deployed with 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining with that extra lap as well. So safety car will take to the circuit, all overtaking will cease. But of course that will bring the field right back together again. That is potentially because of Florian Cohuble's stranded car on the exit of turn 6, almost the entry of turn 7. So here we've got heading down in towards turn 1. That is the 122 machine of Ludovico Longini. He's dragging his front bumper with him. He's fighting away with Adam Sasha at the moment, heading in towards turn 1. There is the 118 machine, that being Francesco Pagano. And the front bumper is underneath his car, so the Renault parts department will be, I'm sure, over the moon seeing this, but it means that the race was temporarily brought under safety car conditions. And that is Florian Cohuble, car number 2 for GM Sport, and that car will need to be towed to safety. The brilliant Paul Ricard marshals doing a fantastic job as always, just communicating to the relevant people that that car does need to be recovered. But David Pouget, that 1 second lead, 1.1 second lead that he had as he crossed the line, will be brought down to near on nothing. Marshall's running out just to pick up A little bit of debris. There is Florian Koubler, so bounced over the curbs, and Alejandro Schimpf didn't really have anywhere to go, so more or less racing incident. You can't really apportion fault, but that is what race control and the race stewards will be looking at, because that is their job for the weekend. You can see the 199 machine, that being Alejandro Schimpf, carrying some damage. Ever more bits of bodywork that have been thrown away from a Renault Clio. Whose they may be, we will never know, but they do need to be picked up and put behind the barrier. 26.9 degrees here at Paul Ricard. That is the ambient temperature, so on the warmer side throughout the day. The Renault Megane RS safety car will lead the field around with 4 minutes to go, plus 1 lap. The average lap behind a safety car is about 3 minutes. David Pouget still leading the field. You could see Nicolas Millat in the background really forcing temperature into those rear tyres. Stefan Polderman still with a bit of work to do compared to where you'd expect himself to be as well. You can see him just working his way through the shot just a couple of moments ago, down in 15th place. He didn't have the best qualifying. There is the 118 we saw earlier of Francesco Pagano. So the Italian driver carrying that damage, and will do so right the way until the end of the race. Safety car boards and the LED boards and the yellow flags all being waved. There is the Renault Megane safety car heading down in towards turns 8 and 9. Safety car will be in this lap, so with the lap being on average 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I would say once the safety car is in, it will be a 2-lap sprint to the finish. The lap remaining on the timer, followed then by that extra lap that is added to the end of the race time. So the safety car will slowly start to put a gap between itself and the cars behind. David Pouget, I'm sure we'll see the safety car lights go off in a few moments' time. Understand that we are going racing once again. You can see the end of the snake just working its way in towards the chicane in the background. That is Manuel Stefani heading down the straight on the extreme left-hand side. Is he going to pull that car into retirement? I believe so. So unfortunately, I don't think we will see any further involvement from Manuel Stefani. So another car down. It's been a rather attritional weekend. The best lap currently being held by Alexandre Albuy, a 2 minutes 29.426. We said he had more pace to unlock. He is doing that as the weekend is wearing on, but with 2 minutes to go, David Pouget, he did this yesterday. He knows how to start. He went very, very late yesterday. He got into the final corner, got out of the final corner, and was still holding everybody at his pace, and then decided to go. Will he brake early? Will he do the same today? So in towards the final corner he will go. Will he jump out of the final corner, or will he hold everybody up? No, he will hold everybody up once again. Still a bit of weaving. He will get the car straight, and away he will go, I'm sure, in a few moments' time. Yes, he has. He's decided to go now. So David Pouget leads the field across the line for what will be the penultimate time. Adrian Schimpf still sat there in second place. However, Adrian has Nicolas Millat getting closer and closer in his rear-view mirror. Jerzy Spinkovic still remains in 4th place. Alex Albuy with the fastest lap of the race sat there in 5th. However, he is coming under pressure from Luca Franke, who doesn't have Aurélien René as close as we saw them earlier on. Very wide in the background is Luca Franke. Now he has Aurélien René on his tail. Down in towards turn 3 goes David Pouget, race leader. A little look up the inside, just filling the mirrors. A bit of a lock-up as well from Adrian Schimpf. Nicolas Millat not too far away. A bit of contact between the pair of them, but Adrian Schimpf maintains the best car control I think he can, and will maintain his 2nd place. Nicolas Millat still sat there in 3rd place. Lots of oversteer from Aurélien René heading onto the straight. All the way around the outside goes to number 84. That is Matteo Lancelotti working his way around the outside of Alejandro Schimpf, and position made. Good move from Matteo Lancelotti all the way around the outside at turn 6. Set the car up for turn 7. David Pouget just doing what he can to break the toe, heading down towards the chicane on the back straight, and it will still be him leading, but Nicolas Millat getting ever closer. So for the moment, David Pouget just about holding on to the lead. It's everybody's guess for how the podium will shape up. Jerzy Spinkovic with a brilliant run out of the chicane as well. He's still being hunted down by Alexandre Albuy, who now has Aurélien René behind him. Aurélien has managed to work his way through and past Luca Franke onto the short run up towards turn 10. Over the crest they will appear through the heat haze, and Adrian Schimpf bouncing away on the absolute edge of adhesion, struggling for grip on the closing stages of this race. But David Puget in towards turn 10, the car rolling into the corner. Just got to keep that rear end in check, even more so after a safety car period, as the heat will slowly start to dissipate from those rear tyres. The field all dives into turn 11. But David Puget has got around about a car length of a gap between himself and Adrian Schimpf behind. It's sort of half a car length from Adrian back to Nicolas Millat. Down in towards turns 14. Before we very quickly arrive at the final corner, turn 15, Jerzy Spinkovic is slowly getting into this podium fight as well. A little look up the inside from Adrian Schimpf, I think just trying to fill the mirrors, maybe force the mistake. He doesn't need to do anything too monumental. He's still on the overall podium, still leading the Challengers category as well. Across the line they will go on to what will be their very final lap of the weekend. David Puget still in the lead, 3/10 clear of Nicolas Millat, who is a very similar distance back. Alexandre Albuy down there in 5th. He's trying to slowly close up on those leaders and work his way through and past Jerzy Spinkovic on the final lap of the race. But David Puget, if anything, he just needs to focus now. The race is only going to be in his windscreen. He doesn't need to worry about his rear view mirror. This is heading through the final corner. A big moment of through 180 degrees. That was the number 19 machine of Gianalberto Coldani. Who was it that he sent through 180 degrees? I think that could have been Alessandro Alcidi, who ended up crossing the line in 13th place. Unfortunately, now we're seeing the number 91, that being Luca Franca. He was fighting up there in the top 5. He's really fallen away now, so he's now behind Mattia Lancelotti in 8th place. So he's got a bit of work to do if he wants to pick up a couple of places on this final lap. But David Puget doing what he can to break that toe as he heads into the chicane for the final time. Adrian Schimpf not far away in 2nd place. Nicolas Millat looking to the outside. Is he going to go for a cutback to the inside? Maybe not. Good run through there by Adrian Schimpf. And then it's the short run uphill towards turn 10. Jerzy Spinkovic has the best seats in the house, and he will be watching this all unfold in front of him. If he stays there, you never know, he might win. And we saw it yesterday. He was going into the final corner in 3rd. He crossed the line to take the win here at Paul Ricard. But David Puget still just about in the lead. Adrian Schimpf closer than we've seen him so far. Nicolas Millat not far away either. Jerzy Spinkovic sat there in 4th place. Alexandre Albuy a fair whack away, but he has he's occupied by Aurélien René, who may have sneaked his way through and passed up the inside heading in towards turn 10. So that will be the final spot in the top 5. Yes, he has. So Aurélien René up into 5th place. Alexandre Albuy remains in 6th. The incident between car 19 and 39 will be investigated. That is Gianalberto Coldani, and then the 39 machine, that being Alessandro Alcidi. We did call it right. David Puget still leading. Adrian Schimpf in 2nd place. Nicolas Millat remains where he is in 3rd place. The top 4 remain as they are through turn 12, 13, 14, and now into 15. A last-minute look there from Nicolas Millat, but through the final corner for the final time this weekend, it will be David Puget who will come towards the checkered flag, and he will see it first. So a race to win goes the way of David Puget. Adrian Schimpf crosses the line to finish in 2nd. Nicolas Millat finally gets on the podium to finish in 3rd. Jerzy Spinkovic, a solid weekend from him. A win yesterday, 4th place today, good points for him. Aurélien René finishes 5th overall, having worked his way through and past Alexandre Albuy. And the number 24 machine of Aurélien will finish 2nd in the Challengers Cup. Adrian Schimpf taking the win. Mattia Lancelotti down in 7th place will finish 3rd in the Challengers Cup. Luca Franca will win the Racers Cup in 8th place overall. And then it will be the number 30 machine of Alex Lancelotti for Faro Racing. He will finish 9th overall and 2nd in the Racers Cup. And Stefan Polderman will finish 3rd in the Racers Cup, down in 13th place. What a weekend it has been for the Clio Cup Series. It has really been the perfect advert, and you can see the team celebrating AST competition over the moon with Adrian Schimpf on the overall podium and a win in the Challengers Cup for Adrian Schimpf. What a weekend it has been for him. Adrian Schimpf yesterday, he won the Challengers Cup and finished 5th overall. So 2nd today has been a really good haul of points for himself. Alexandre Albuy did have the fastest lap with a 2:29.426, and track limits car number 30 will be under investigation at the moment. That is Alex Lancelotti, so he finished 2nd in the Racers' Cup. 8th overall. I don't think that should threaten his finishing position. Luca Franca with a rather second-hand looking Renault Clio Cup 5. But the field will work their way in towards the pit lane on their in-lap. It will get the cars nice and cool as best they can. I'm sure a little bit of congratulating each other. Jerzy Spinkovic leading the field around, followed by, I'm sure, the absolute overjoyed Adrian Schimpf. The Spanish driver will be very, very impressed with his performances over the weekend, and I'm sure Alejandro Schimpf, his twin brother, after finishing 9th overall, but will join him on the 3rd step of the podium, that being in the Challengers Cup. I'm sure the pair of them, both the Schimps, will be very, very impressed indeed. So too will their team of AST competition. And this is the final finishing order. So David Pouget took the win ahead of Adrian Schimpf. Nicolas Millar finished in 3rd place. Jerzy Spinkovic crossed the line in 4th. And Aurelien René rounds out your top 5. Alexandre Albuy finished in 6th, followed then by Mattia Lancelotti. Luca Franca crossed the line in 8th, followed by Alex Lancelotti. Alejandro Schimpf rounds out your top 10. Then it is Leonardo Arduini, Giacomo Trebi, followed then by Stefan Polderman, Jeremy Bodagaray. Then it is René Stiemetz, Guillaume Meo, Giuseppe Jimenez, and then followed then by Florian Venturi in 18th place. Thomas Compa in 19th, and Quinto Stefano rounds out your top 20. Then it is Lionel Vigueur and Sandro Cottini, 21st and 22nd. 23rd place was Gian Albert Coldani, followed then by Fabio Giulia, Adam Sasha, Ludovico Longini, Francesco Pagano, followed then by Vinicius Juncker, G, Rafael Quadrado, Samuel Chalin, and then it is the number 372 machine of Andrea Chiacetti, followed then by Jean-Luc Composin. Then it is Stephanie Nevea, Joaquin Rodrigo, Lydia Samper, Michael Fay, and Alessandro Alcidi. Unfortunately, we did lose Florian Kuble, Matteo Polini, Manuel Stefani, Alejandro Romero, and Gael Rostand throughout the race. But what an advert for the Clio Cup Series. A brilliant weekend here at the SRO Motorsport Festival. And we have been treated to 2 incredibly close qualifying sessions and 2 even closer races right the way until the final lap. Those positions were under threat, but David Pouget can breathe a sigh of relief as he gets out his car and puts the door to the 113, that being Adrian Schimpf finishing in 2nd place. But David Pouget, he can finally feel 1 step closer to being champion of the Clio Cup Series. That fight will go on to Zandvoort next weekend, where they are joined by the GT World Paddock. Well, there is David Pouget, and I'm sure desperate to get that helmet off and cool off as best he can. But what a performance from David throughout the weekend. 2 pole positions, a 3rd place, and a race win. He really knows what he is doing behind the wheel of one of these Renault Clio Cups. Congratulated by his partner. And over the mean with that one is David. You can see just how desperate he is to cool down. A bottle of water in hand. Adrian Schimpf, a brilliant performance this weekend. Standout driver for me, finishing 2nd in that race. And of course 2 Challengers Cup wins to his name. This is how the race went out in a very brief format. So David Pouget led the field away with Adrian Schimpf lining up in 2nd place. And as the red lights went out, it was a good start from the front few rows. However, we did see a poor start from Alexandre Albuy, unfortunately, left without too much to do as he dropped down the order. Very clean through turn 1. Jerzy Spinkovic remained his 3rd place. Nicolas Millar immediately made inroads in towards the top group. Very wide on the exit of turn 5 was Florian Kuble, and he had a bit of work to do as well. Contact between Nicolas Millar and Jerzy Spinkovic as Nicolas was desperate to try and carve his way through the order. By this point, it was Jerzy Spinkovic up into 2nd place. However, in just a few moments' time, we saw that swap back to Adrian Schimpf, reasserting himself into the 2nd step of the podium. Nicolas Millar fighting away with Luca Franca. Luca Franca had to cut the chicane. Nicolas Millar passed that position back. The fans of the team overjoyed to see what a brilliant race we had on our hands. Jerzy Spinkovic was then the next target for Nicolas Millar. Very quickly disposed of into the final corner. A little bit of a lock-up, pitched in, and a position made for Nicolas Millar. Working his way down in towards turn 1, he then set about carving his way ever closer, digging away at the time towards the rest of that top 3. But David Pouget still up at the front. managing that gap back to Adrian Schimpf. Nicolas Millau was fighting ever harder to get closer. Jerzy Spinkovic then came under pressure from Alexander Albuy on the exit of the chicane on the back straight. They both went off the road. That then threw everything back the way of Aurélien René. Unfortunately, we did see contact. That's between Alejandro Schimpf and Florian Kuriba. Florian could no longer take part in what was left of the race at the time. The safety car was then deployed, but Jerzy Spinkovic fighting away with Alexander Albuy, and whether he got there in the end was still yet to be decided at this point in the race. The team watching on as eagerly as possible. The 118 carrying as much damage as I think you're allowed. Francesco Pagano was desperately trying to nurse that car to the end. The safety car came out, budged the field back up, and then we were ready to go again. David Pouget still at the front of the order. He got the race back underway. Adrian Schimpf, pardon me, in second place, was under the light, under the wrap of Nicolas Millau, and had a very interesting race, did Matteo Lancelotti. He was constantly trying to go forward and making sure he didn't roll backwards all at the same time. Jerzy Spinkovic was closing up on the rest of that top three and was really starting to keep that battle close. Unfortunately, we did see a big spin towards the tail end of the order. I think that was Sandro Cortini, but David Pouget through the final corner, and it was Adrian Schimpf that finished second. A good weekend from Adrian Schimpf, but another win goes the way of David Pouget. Adrian Schimpf finished in second place. Nicolas Millau finished in third place. But that is the Clio Cup Series. This has been Paul Ricard in the SRO Motorsport Festival. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.